Hello and welcome back to coverage of Grand Prix Detroit. This is Gabby Sparts with Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth, and we're getting ready to watch round 10. We have Mike Sigrist playing versus Alexander Hayne, red-green Eldrazi kind versus the mirror match, another red-green Eldrazi deck.
Yeah, these guys worked together for Pro Tour testing and undoubtedly worked on this list together or gave it to each other.
Yeah, do you think they have the same deck list here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually waiting on getting the actual deck list here, but yeah, I'm sure they're on the same list.
So grow with the burn rollos for Mike.
This is important too because there actually are two different red-green Eldrazi decks doing well here in Detroit. We're shorthand calling it Eldrazi red-green Aggro. It plays 4 copies of Lightning Bolt in the main deck, and it also has cards like Eldrazi Mimic, you know, the kind of stuff that you saw at the Pro Tour, but in a red-green shell instead. Then there's also a slower, bigger version of the red-green deck that even plays some ramp cards like a Talisman and plays 4 copies of Worldbreaker in the main deck. And those decks are, I mean, they share some similarities. They're both trying to leverage the power of the card that Mike Sigrist is playing right now, which is Ancient Stirrings.
Yeah.
But they're kind of taking a different take. As far as I know, both of these players are on the aggressive version.
So Eldrazi Temple for Alex Hayne and a pass back to Mike. Yeah, and like you said, Ancient Stirring is just an amazing card in this deck. Matter Reshaper for Mike and a pass. And here you see this deck is trying to go a little bit lower to the ground. I did a deck tech with Mike on the weekend. He said Matter Reshaper was the worst creature for sure, but it's it's still an excellent creature in the deck.
So you can see that Alexander Hayne has part of that, really awesome possibility opening here with the turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer. One of the most powerful plays in Modern, period. And he's going to take a look at what Sigrist is working with here. And interesting hand to see from Sigrist. He's got a Lightning Bolt and an Eldrazi Obligator, which are fine. But he's then got sort of the two of the signature cards from the Eldrazi deck with the Thought-Knot Seer and the Reality Smasher. He gets to take one of these away. But you'll also note no more lands there, unless that's one off to the side.
I think actually Mike set one aside as like, this is not an option you can take. And I think it's at the very edge.
I do see a card peeking out there. So then I'm under the assumption then that Mike can at least cast Thought-Knot Seer next turn. Oh, and it's an Eye of Ugin, too, which he's already got one in play, so it doesn't matter. So he's just going to take the Thought-Knot Seer and kind of dare Sigrist to find a land here.
Yeah, so I like that play a lot. At this point, he needs to make sure that, did he not draw a land?
He didn't, but he did find an Ancient Stirring, so he could dig for an Eldrazi Temple here and still get his mana flowing.
Once again, seeing the power of that Ancient Stirring.
He did find a Temple. Not sure if that's what he wants primarily, but that does get him that much closer to Reality Smasher.
I think he agrees with you. I think he's into that Temple.
Yeah,
it just allows him to deploy his hand so well. And both these players, incredibly accomplished players. Mike Sigrist is the reigning player of the year.
Oh yeah,
3 GP top 8s to his name with 2 wins, and Alexander Hayne 8 GP top 8s with 4 wins. That's just absurd. He's also a winner of Pro Tour Avacyn Restored.
Yeah, it's guys are closers.
Yeah.
Hayne has he's won half of his
GP top 8s. Can you imagine that?
Sigrist is on 2/3.
Yeah.
It's like Kai Buddha is down in the in the feature match area. Oh my God!
Wow.
Are you serious, Alexander? Nice turn.
Wow. All right, so reality. Now we can say they're smashing in for 9. Going down to 11.
God. 2 bolts in hand here for Sigrist.
Yeah, Bolt not looking at its best right here.
Not really. I mean, he really just wanted to find. Well, I don't know. Maybe he'll just run out the Reality Smasher and just leave it up for blocks here.
Yeah, I think he agrees with you. So the Reality Smasher comes down, but it's not going to attack. His life total's it's dropping precipitously.
Yeah, and remember the Obligator, is a really big threat in these type of scenarios too.
Oh wow! Another Reality Smasher and Matter Reshaper for Alex.
What is that?
Dismember.
Oh no!
This is so brutal. All right, so it looks like Matter Reshaper under the bus, but still, that's just game. Wow, Alex Hayne takes it down. Well, not yet, but is up 1-0 versus Mike Sigrist. And that's what happens in these Eldrazi mirrors, Marshall. You just have either somebody gets out the gate so fast, like turn 4 Thought-Knot Seer, smash again, you're done. / the game goes super long, and then you get into those mirrors where it's about Eldrazi Displacer and Obligator, and can you steal enough of their creatures, that sort of thing. So we're going to move over and see what Mark Jacobson and what's going on between the match of Mark Jacobson and Cedric Phillips. We have Abzan Company versus Eldrazi Tron.
Well,
Those are Tron lands. That's amazing.
Yeah, you know what's more amazing? Mark Jacobson life total.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We are at 99 plus.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that the game's completely over here, though. I don't have Cedric's deck list here. They're still sorting that out for us, Gabby. But, you know, running Tron lands makes me assume that he's playing a big version of the Eldrazi deck, or at least has access to some of the big cards, which is interesting, right? Because right now you can see his board state here, and he has a pretty traditional Eldrazi curve here with, you can see the Endless One, the Matter Reshaper, the Mimics, and all that kind of stuff. Oh, wait, what are we seeing now?
We're seeing a combo.
Is it for 4?
Oh, no, sorry. We're seeing a...
Yeah, he's just going to go get Murderous Red Cap and finish the game. So, well, we were right in time. Boom.
Wow, I really want to see what Cedric's deck is up to. But yeah, that's combo. All right.
That will do it. So, yeah, bad timing.
Bad timing.
Or good timing, depending on how you see it.
I mean, both players are doing great. So, hopefully Cedric, we'll get to catch some of Cedric later on this weekend. Wow, red Tron Eldrazi. Yeah, my assumption would be that there's just bigger creatures that you're trying to pump out at that point. And Ancient Stirrings is great at helping you find the Tron pieces in that scenario. Obviously, the Ancient Tombs are still awesome. Ancient Tombs, I mean, Eldrazi Temple, Ayavugan.
Yeah, so you're going pretty deep there. Ancient Tombs. That card's not legal in Modern.
Quote, unquote.
Then again, they're playing 8 of them.
Yeah, they are not legal yet. Somehow there's 8 copies.
We may have hit the crux of the problem here. Yeah, so shuffle cam. This happens sometimes.
Yeah, no. The cool thing about Cedric too is he's an avid Tron player. I know that because I play like infinite amount of Tron, and so we've bonded over that before. But I'm glad to see that somebody's trying to make that happen. He's running it at N1. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, Mark Jacobson feels a little differently than you do about it. He says, I think I'll just gain infinite life and then do infinite damage. And you can have your Tron lands.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see. If you follow him on social media, he's been talking about his deck list and how much he likes it.
Who?
Cedric. Yeah, and, Cedric, known commentator, but also has a lot of chops behind him. He has a PT top 8 in 2009.
Yeah, way back in the day.
Yeah, and he has 3 GP top 8s.
Oh, yeah, kid can play.
Yeah, the most recent one was in Worcester in 2012. Yes, Cedric can play. Yeah, and on the other hand, we have Mark Jacobson, part of Team East-West Bowl. He's a California player, friends with all the players who play out there. He has 2 GP top 8s, one in Houston 2016 and one in Toronto 2015.
I'm kind of bummed, Gabby.
Why?
Well, he's sideboarding, but no Trapper Keeper.
There is no Trapper Keeper, you're right.
I like that.
This is the thing.
Move.
He's playing against Tron Eldrazi. How many times do you think players are going to have their Trapper Keeper ready versus Tron Eldrazi?
Not even that matchup can make it into the Keeper.
No,
okay.
it doesn't make it into the Trapper Keeper.
It's a really good point.
All right, so our players are going to draw 7.
Yeah, Mark Jacobson with a big weekend. Last weekend.
Yeah, last weekend.
Yeah, he's coming off of a massive performance there and looking to run it back, and he's in good shape, too.
Good start for Mike. Ayavugan into Eldrazi Mimic. All right, Ayavugan for Alex. Endless 1 on 2. That Mimic looking significantly better, has so much more potential, depending on what's on Mike's hand. All right, let's see. An Endless 1 for 3, turning that Mimic into a 3. Now I can get in there with no fear of that Endless 1.
Yeah, this play-draw thing is a pretty big deal in this type of match.
Oh, yeah.
When players are trying to use these tempo plays, the Lightning Bolts and the Eldrazi Obligators, to get their opponent dead as soon as possible, being on the play is massive.
All right, Matter Reshaper for Alex. No attacks. Pass back to Mike.
Yeah, Reshaper's pretty good here, though. This is a big hold-your-breath moment for Hayne, because if Sigrist plays another 2-mana land and then like a Reality Smasher, he's in big trouble. But if he doesn't, then he may have stabilized here.
Yeah, another Karplusan Forest for Mike.
That helps, though.
Thought Not Seer is pretty good. Let's take a look.
Well, yeah, there. Thank you, Alex.
Just a lot of lands. There's a Thought Not Seer.
An Obligator.
An Obligator.
And
an Endless One.
Yeah.
Interesting choice right here, Marshall, because the Obligator presents such a big threat throughout the game, but it's less threatening once you know it's in there.
Yeah, I think he's just going to take Thought Knot
Yeah,
here.
so then in that case, taking something like Thought Knot Seer, which A, protects your hand, B, is just bigger than all the creatures that you have at this point, sans your Thought Knot Seer. It's interesting choice right there.
Yeah, he's going to have to look at his own hand as well and see what's going on with it, because there are some times when you're kind of out of gas, you don't have much, and it looks like a pretty obvious Thought Knot Seer for Alex, and you might be like, you know what, you can play it. You're not going to get anything from my hand, and then I can kill it later, put it in combat, and then draw a card. He did take it, though.
So taking a look at these players' deck list, I believe that they're actually on the same 75.
Yeah, they're on the same
Yeah.
deck. Yeah. I mean, they test together.
Yeah.
You know. They're on exactly the same
Yeah, it
deck.
looks like exactly the same
Like
deck list.
straight up copy paste.
Yep.
Even in the same order on the deck list sheet. Thank
Oh,
you,
yeah.
gentlemen. So a true test of skill here.
Yeah. And I'm sure they've played this matchup a lot. At this point, if they're testing together, have the same 75, they've played it a lot. Let's see. Double block. That Mimic. Takes down both of the other creatures. But,
Awkward.
that was awkward. Alex reveals an Eye of Ugin to the Matter Reshaper. Chooses to put it in his hand since putting it on the battlefield does stone cold and nothing.
Kind of pump fake towards the battlefield. I was like,
Yeah,
oh.
it was like almost going to the battlefield. It's like, nah, never mind.
I guess
Come
I'll
back
just
here.
draw the thing. Well, at least he got it out of the way.
Right, 10 device bridge for Alex. An endless one for 4. Let's see. Another land is a draw for Mike. Is he flooding a little bit? I think he has like
Definitely a
an
little bit.
obligator. Is that it?
I think he might have an endless one.
Mm.
And oh, no, you're right. Yeah, just an
I
obligator.
think he's just got an obligator.
Yeah, you are correct. Well,
He can obligate right here and get in for quite a bit of damage. That said, then he's out of gas. Yeah, so he's going to go ahead and do that play. Take that endless one for the turn.
this is usually the death knell. You don't necessarily die this turn, but it sets up such a devastating sequence here that it's so hard for Alex to come back from this.
Well,
He just took 11 damage.
Yeah, he did, but, you know, he's got the endless one back, and, you know, Mike is out of cards.
That is true.
And, you know, Alex has a full grip right here. You know, another obligator would get the job done here, but if he is able to present, and he has Eye of Ugin, so he can actually dump more of his hand than he traditionally could with, like, an Eldrazi Temple. So if he's able to play some blockers here, he's not in bad shape. All right, so Wooded Foothills is a land for Alex. What do you think happens for these games post-board when they actually get to sideboard?
I'm assuming they try to go a little bigger if they can. They've got a World Breaker in the board. I don't know.
Yeah, I
This
think
deck's pretty new. I'd have to ask these guys and try to get a feel for what they think. I mean, the other problem is, well, the other problem that these guys face is that they know each other very well, and it's a full-on mirror. And, you know, when that's the case, things get weird. It's not like you just, you know, pull out your sheet and, okay, these come in, those come out. Like, it's like, well, what do you think your opponent's doing? Like, do you think that they're going to go a little bigger? Do you think that they're going to board in certain cards that you could bring in answers to?
Yeah, there's only a couple things that kind of stick out as definitely things that you'd probably want to have, the World Breaker being one of them.
Yeah.
The Dismember being the other. Then you get into the weird situation of like, well, do you want the Kozilek's return? Is that something that's going to matter?
Exactly.
Like, do you want to play like a more controlling game, or what do you think your opponent's going to do? Like, do you want the Kozilek's return maybe when you're on the draw or the play. Do you even want them? Alex actually had a pretty nice sequence right there. He's able to play 2 of his creatures, both an Obligator and a Mimic. So this is a situation I was talking about earlier. Like, yes, he is down to 5 life, but he has a much better board presence at this point than Mike, and Mike has nothing in his hand. I think he actually just drew a Matter Reshaper for the turn.
Yeah, Mike had a good start. He's got Alex down to 5, but he has stalled out a significant amount here. Oh, wow. This is going to get really close, Gabby. You know, Mike's last card in hand is a Lightning Bolt.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was on nothing. Wow,
No.
that actually changes things quite significantly.
Yeah, he's got that unlimited Lightning Bolt sitting in his hand. So another one of those would do it, or sneaking in any damage to an Obligator. Wow, he just drew another Ancient Strings.
If he finds an Obligator out of this.
GG, probably.
Yeah.
Not guaranteed, but probably.
All right, let's see. Nope. Dismember, nope. Nope.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, those are all lands except...
I think he's just going to get a temple out of it,
Yeah.
Gabby. Ugh.
Yikes. Well, he's getting into range of Ugin. Still 2 lands away from it, but
Yes.
he
that's
is
a
at
really good point.
you know, he's at 13 life, so he's got a little bit of life total to play with here. He doesn't even need to attack.
Interesting. I think he's actually considering jamming with the Matter Reshaper. Alex helpfully setting up his blocks for him here. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, at
He
this point
could force the issue
the
here.
whole board would trade if the blocks go this way.
Yeah, and then interestingly, Mike would get a card off of Reshaper, but Alex would get a card off of Thought Knot Seer,
Yeah.
and Mike decides just to sit with his Lightning Bolt in hand. He still has the live out. Huh. This has been a really cool game.
Yeah, it has been.
Mike's still trying to leverage that big play with the Obligator to help him finish it off.
Oh, it definitely early on in the game.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one, you know, turn 5, whatever
Yeah,
it was.
that was huge for him. I think he has Reality Smasher.
Yeah, that seems fine here. He's
Well,
gonna
now he
get him in
can
for
rumble. Yeah, he
5.
can rumble with a Mimic, and still have enough blockers behind. And you know, Alex knows he's dead to a lot of things. He's dead to Mike drawing another Bolt, drawing another Obligator. Mike could block here with a with a Matter Reshaper if he wants, just to see what he gets off the top. Because if it's a land and he
could
puts it in
also-
play,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he totally has that ability. I mean, if it's a Bolt, he can draw it. If it's an Obligator, he can draw it.
right? I think he's gonna.
It's a little early to do that when you're at 13, but he can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to go for it.
Oh,
and he hits
wow,
the
he
Bolt
hits the
off the
Bolt.
top.
Bolt.
Ding, ding.
Ah! Wow. That was crazy.
Did it.
So Mike evens it out between Mike and Alex in the mirror. They're going to move it to a game 3. That was nuts.
Was that a good draw?
No, I mean, that's why
Oh,
I
man.
kind of liked throwing the
Look at
Matter
the
Reshaper right
smirk
there.
on Siggy's. Remember, these guys are very good
Oh
friends.
yeah, these guys are
and
good friends. They
PT
laughed at
testing
it.
partners. Yeah.
I love watching people when they're in the feature match area and they're clearly having fun. That's one of my favorite things. We're going to move back to the match of Jacobson versus Phillips and take a look at what Cedric is doing here with...
Well, what Cedric is doing is looking for a sack outlet. Or excuse me, what Mark's
Mark,
doing is
yeah.
looking for a sack outlet.
He's very close. I think this is a bolster trigger on the... Oh, wait, hold on. Collect the Company was just cast, it seems. So that's where things came from. I think a bolster trigger just happened. I think that's what's going on the Big
2
Game
of 'em.
Hunter. Yeah.
Yeah, so both from the Collected Company.
Yeah.
So he hit Finks and Big Game Hunter. Mark's at 7.
I also see there's a Reality Smasher in the yard at some point, so I think that might explain why Mark is at such a low life total. Because there's 2 Mimics on the board and a Thought Knot Seer. Cool thing about this Company deck right here, you can see with how little lands it can operate, having so many mana creatures and, you know, 3 lands. Look at everything he has on the board. Looks like a double block is happening here on this Thought Knot Seer. This is nice. It's going to let Jacobson draw another card if the exchange happens. All right. So the exchange does happen here. gets to draw a card.
Ooh.
Oh, it's a Path to Exile.
He's even got white mana from his Hierarch here, too.
Untap back to Mark.
Mark is scrambling here, though. Make no mistake. He's at 3 now. He's doing everything he can to try to stabilize against Cedric, but it looks like he's on the verge of doing so.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is, had Cedric is holding his hands really close to him right now. If he has any of those big creatures, it puts Jacobson in a position, like if he has another Reality Smasher or something like that, or a Thought-Knot Seer for that matter, it puts Jacobson in a position where he has to chump. And if he's chumping with, like, obviously he doesn't want to chump on offensive, that's part of the combo. If he chumps with Hierarch, he's down to 3 lands.
Yeah, I mean, at least on offensive would trade. He just might think that his only way is to combo here.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean, like, by not wanting to trade up on the fence, as if you think that one of the ways you get out of this hole, which you're at 3 life and Cedric is at 20, you're not finishing this game anytime soon.
Right. But, I mean, if he would have blocked, he would have been at 5 life and only facing down 1 Mimic. So, there's that, too.
That's a fair point.
Right? Like, I mean, he had a fork in the road there where he needed to try to either maintain the ability to have some sort of semblance of a combo or trade. And just get the board wiped down and hope that he can, draw some collected companies or whatever it is to get his value going.
All right. So, Wall of Roots for Mark. He gets a bolster trigger on that Hierarch. Let's see
that's a big deal because if Cedric bricks here, doesn't find a Reality Smasher or something big, and he didn't, that's just an Ulamog in
There's
hand,
an Ulamog, I think, but I think I also saw an Endless one.
Okay.
And if it's an Endless one, it's pretty good right here. An Endless one here force chumps. But now we're starting to see a little bit more of what Cedric is trying to do in this matchup. We do see a copy of Ulamog. This is post-board, but assuming that there are Tron lines here, you just got to jam that guy in your deck.
I agree. And, I mean, if Cedric had Tron, he'd be set up for it. He's not quite there, though. He's missing the mine here, right? So doesn't have it. So what does he have? 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 8 mana right now. Well, a big Endless one would be great. Like, he would force the issue on Mark, because Mark is in an awkward position here. He's got a collected company in his hand. He just can't cast it right now.
Well, it looks like our first match is ready to go, so we'll switch back to Cedric and Mark Jacobson in a little bit. Looks like our players are off to the races. Mike's leads with, I think that's an Eldrazi Temple. Yeah, it is. Alex with a Meta Reshaper and a pass back to Mike. Gravel the Burn Willows for Mike. No play. Alex untaps. Crunching for 3. Putting Mike down to 17. Another Krautmann Forest. Thought-Knot Seer. Now let's see what's going on in Mike's hand. Mike has played nothing on turn 1 or turn 2. He's going to go ahead and take care of that Thought-Knot Seer right now. Draw a card. Now still has to reveal his hand. Let's see. 3 lands, a Thought-Knot Seer, a Meta Reshaper, and a Reality Smasher. We don't know what's going on in Alex's hand, but this explains what's happening before. And interesting enough, Mike chose not to play that Meta Reshaper that turn. He instead chose to just hold up Thought-Knot Seer. He's like, take the Thought-Knot Seer.
Yeah.
Or sorry, take the Meta Reshaper.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the pretty easy curve here of Thought-Knot into Smasher here for Sigrist, and Hayne is trying to decide between the two what he wants to actually take, and it's going to be the Thought-Knot. So he's just going to take his next play away. I mean, Mike has a backup plan with the Meta Reshaper.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's not nearly as good as Thought-Knot. Yeah, this more aggressive version of the deck, we have not seen it come down to Eye of Ugin activations yet.
No, we have not.
They're kind of just bashing each other's heads in.
Definitely the blue-white version is so much more prone to getting into that sort of game state. I mean, the blue-white version is playing Drowner of Hope, so it's just likely to just take a lot longer. And then that's when you get into Displacer area, Eye of Ugin area.
Exactly.
Mike's going to play that Krautmann Forest. No Thought-Knot Seer for him anymore. He has a Meta Reshaper. I'll pass back to Alex. I like Alex taking that Thought-Knot Seer earlier. I like it a lot because it doesn't just make... It's not just the most powerful card in his hand at that point. Well, I guess Reality Smasher is more powerful, but it also kind of screws up with his curve quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Matter Reshaper dies to that bolt. Another Matter Reshaper. Wombo combo.
Oh, that's too good.
Crunch. Block. Can we get another Matter Reshaper off the top?
Sigrist is... they both hit 4 card flus. Oh, no, sorry. That's Stomping Ground.
Yeah, one's the stomping grounds.
All right. Well, now you can see what's going on here. It was an obligator off the top for Sigrist, but, of course, that Reality Smasher was the next big play for him. Yeah, this is actually working out. Even though that sequence kind of backfired a little bit on Alex, he knew that was possible.
Yeah.
And, he just sort of took his medicine and ended up working out pretty good for him.
He also drew another Reality Smasher off the top right now.
Alex did?
Just FYI, Mike did.
Oh, God, really?
Yes, he did.
Must be nice.
Yep. Look at that. 5 in.
Alex just has
Alex
to look at it
come
like,
on,
come on, dude.
$19 versus 13. Let's see what you can do here, Alex Hayne. Also, Alex is aware of that obligator in Mike's hand, which at this point in the game, it's going to be impactful. Given how few creatures there are in the battlefield right now, it's going to be a very impactful card.
Yeah,
oh.
Everybody's got Reality Smashers. And look, Hayne just wants to make it a race. He says, look, if you go Obligator next turn and don't draw anything, I'm not dead.
Yeah.
Right? He goes to 1.
Yes.
and then he has lethal on the crackback. So he's basically just daring Sigrist to draw something here. Lightning Bolt, anything. Wow.
I think he's going to go for it.
That is a gutsy attack from Hayne. I love it.
Oh. I actually really like that attack by Hayne. It's super it's super gutsy. All right, let's see. Thought Knot's here. Okay, he chooses
Thought Knot. That was a big draw.
That was a huge draw for Mike.
Sigrist gets a Thought Knot and a Reality Smasher taken out of his hand and then draws Reality Smasher Thought Knot.
Did he choose? Yeah, he let it get exile. He didn't activate it. Or he didn't use it, actually. It was a dismember.
You mean he didn't cast Dismember?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, it would have left him dead. And now Sigrist knows that Hayne is out of cards here and just wants to try to set up the 2-turn kill. He can't kill him this turn, but he's just got to be real careful about dying to the crackback. He's going to steal the Reality Smasher.
So here comes the Reality Smasher with the Obligator.
He needs 2 blockers.
Yeah.
So he can get in here for 8 and leave back his own Reality Smasher and his 2 Thought Knot Seer. Excuse me, and his Thought Knot Seer.
Well, yeah, the Thought Knot Seer, that was just cast.
No, I'm just saying they're back to block.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Alex and Sigrist will be all evened up on board. Looks like Sigrist might be taking a little bit more of a conservative route here.
Leaving behind the Obligator?
He's considering it. He could chomp.
Yeah. You could also just trade with the Thought Knots here. I mean, you're at 4, so you don't want Alex to be drawing any extra cards at this point of the game.
Well, it's the Reality Smasher that's the problem, though.
Yeah. All right, so his own Reality Smasher stays behind. He attacks with Alex's Reality Smasher and his Obligator, putting Alex down to 6. Let's see what Alex can find.
Big draw step for Hayne.
It's a huge one.
Again, the board's at relative parity here. Sigrist has also left himself, assuming that he doesn't die this turn, the out of a Lightning Bolt with that attack.
A Mimic. Yeah. All right, pass back. So this is huge for Mike right here.
Lightning Bolt wins it. Or no, sorry, not anymore. It was just a land. Yeah. All right, so I guess we get to just hang out for a little while.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. This is
sweet. Well, both players are living on the edge right here.
Yeah, this is sweet. Let's just hang out for a little while. Like, why are you so mad? It's okay. It's Sunday morning. Let's just.
It's time to chill with us and our Eldrazi friends.
Let's just be friendly. There's a little tension though, right? Like anybody draws anything good and the game just gets blown wide open. But I think for now we might just be in a holding pattern, which I kind of like.
It's this has really shown, a lot of the matches that we've seen this weekend have really shown the strength of Eldrazi Obligator. Like in almost any of these board states that we've been seeing, if an Obligator came down, it would just be game. we've seen that this version in particular, the one that's lower to the ground, the one that we're calling quote unquote aggro, like it's doing well, and I think it's because of this. It goes fast. It has a big threaten effect.
All right, we're hanging out. Wonder what Hayne drew. Oh, Reality Smasher.
Copy the Mimic. Let's see what you can do. Attack with
That's
all.
lethal if he
oh,
doesn't
that's
have
lethal
anything.
if he doesn't have anything.
Everything's at least 4 power, and Sigrist is at 4, so it looks like he ripped.
Mike hasn't scooped, so that makes me think that he has something.
I think he's just being deliberate.
Oh, Nyavugan. A hand extension, yes.
Wow.
Alex Hayne takes it down between him and Mike in the red-green Eldrazi mirror. That was
One
nuts.
good top deck deserves another,
Yeah.
I think.
That was back and forth. That was like 4. Wow.
Yeah, Sigrist found the bolt in the previous game, and this time it was Alexander Hayne who is giggling away.
Let's move back to see the match between Cedric, Phillips, and Mark Jacobson. So Dismember's killing something. I think it's that Fiend Hunter, yeah. Back comes the Mimic. Yeah.
So we're in game 2 here, just at the stage for you at home, and that's where we were when we left.
Yeah.
So we're still actually in the same game. This is the one that Jacobson was pretty significantly behind on, and he's dead.
Yeah, and Cedric is going to even it out here. 1-1, pushing it to a game 3.
Wow. Man, Jacobson was really scrapping to stay in that one, but it looks like...
Looks like he was scrapping the entire game.
Yeah.
All right, so taking a look at these players' sideboards. Marshall, what do you think happens between them when they go post-board? This is obviously their 3rd game at this point.
Let's take a look. You know, there's some nice stuff in the board here for Jacobson. He's got 2 big game hunters, 2 paths. Those really stand out as the cards that I think he would want here. Yeah, nothing else really stands out.
That seems like about it for him.
Yeah, now if
the
you
big
look
game
over
hunter
at
is
Cedric's
big game
list,
for sure.
Indeed. Cedric's got 4 gut shot, which those could absolutely come in. You know, those do take out a lot of reasonable creatures on Mark's side, specifically his mana creatures. He's got an Ulamog.
Yeah, I kind of like Ulamog. There's a chance that
He's
if
got one in the main.
He does.
Yeah, so one in the main, another in the board.
He
I
might
think
not
he'd
need-
want him.
He might not necessarily need the 2. The reason I like Ulamog is it depends at the point in the combo in which he has infinite life but not necessarily infinite damage. It's possible he can win by decking his opponent. So Ulamog is kind of like a nice draw that you can have in that spot.
Yeah, another card that he's going to bring in for sure is the 3 Relic of Progenitus. That disrupts the combo, either of the combos. So he can... so Cedric will have that available to him. And then if he wants, there's also 3 Chalice of the Void, which I think is an interesting consideration just because there's quite a bit you can do as long as you know what your opponent's up to. He's also got 3 Ratchet Bomb, which, again, I don't think is bad. I mean, honestly, looking at the list, so he's got Gut Shot, Relic of Progenitus, Chalice of the Void, Ratchet Bomb, Ulamog, and then 1 Oblivion Sower. He could bring in 14 cards. Like, I don't think he would.
His sideboard is pretty good
I mean,
this in particular.
he doesn't have a reason to bring in that many. He can just take the ones that are very good. But, like, all of these have applications against what Jacobson's doing. So, yeah,
Another nice
we'll
thing
have to see what Cedric decides.
The other nice thing, now that we can take a look at Cedric's list a little bit closer, he is going with a 4 Eldrazi lands, but then he has all of the Tron combo. And he's trying to assemble things like Expedition Map to find the rest of the pieces for Tron. 4 Oblivion Stone, a mainstay in the Tron deck, is actually pretty nice against a deck like Mark's. In this situation, he's able to blow up the whole board.
And that's the big difference here, right? Like, the Eldrazi decks don't run Oblivion
Oh, you will
Stone.
never see an Oblivion Stone in an Eldrazi deck, but you see it here. And it actually looks pretty good against Mark Jacobson. It's a little slow, because this deck is a little slower to assemble Tron than like a dedicated Tron deck would be, for example. 3 Oblivion Sowers actually helps him a lot in his quest to find all the Tron lands. He can...
Looks like he took 2 of them out of his main deck here.
Oh, you just saw that?
Yeah, and he also took out 3 of his Reality Smashers, too. Sorry, not Reality Smashers. Those are still in. Matter Reshapers, I meant.
Matter Reshaper is a less impactful card here. It actually gets blocked pretty decently by some of Mark's creatures, and doesn't have trample. He's kind of just a dummy. He actually has 3 copies of Urborg in this deck, which makes the 4 Dismember that he has in there also a little bit more
a
little more palatable.
Agreed, yeah. You want some coffee or?
I do have some coffee. Thanks, Marshall.
I've got some too. Well, it's tea. I found unsweetened tea.
Honest tea is good.
It says it's lemon flavored. Not gonna lie, it doesn't taste.
It's
much
not
like
not very lemony. Let's see if we can assemble the natural Tron. Let's go.
Oh.
All right.
Stage 1 complete.
Yeah, tower into map versus tower into map is a good. All right. Power plant.
So he's got Tron on turn 3 here. Just needs a mind. This could be really bad news for Jacobson, depending on what.
Oh yeah, I mean he's off to
Cedric has
he's
as
off
the
to. This
backup
looks like
here.
a Tron deck right now.
Yeah, it just looks like a normal Tron deck,
Yeah.
except for that he gets to cast like ridiculous Eldrazi.
Another
right?
wall of roots.
That's not going to cut it.
That's not
This
doing a
does
whole
leave
lot.
him access to Collected Company if he has one in his hand, though.
I'm not gonna lie, I want to go home and put this deck together.
Which one, Cedric's deck?
Yes. Tron assembled.
That makes sense though, right? Because you're so comfortable with
Dude,
the
I
the
love-
fundamentals of Tron, but now
Yeah.
you get access to like the best cards in the format with the Eldrazi.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
three in the pool for Cedric, 3 man in the pool for Cedric, but he finds Relic, which disrupts the combo. Another
Wow.
Eldrazi Magno. He didn't have
That was
anything
not
else.
the big finish that he was
Wow.
hoping for. Uh-oh. This is going to be Collected Company for Jacobson.
Yeah, this could be huge for Jacobson.
This is big. Like, he can breathe a big sigh of relief that he didn't just have to face down something ridiculous.
Birds. I think there's an
Oh,
Anafenza at the back.
no.
Oh, he bricked.
Yep.
Whoa.
Well, not fully, but a Birds of Paradise
Paradise.
was not what he had in mind.
Wow. No, that's not what you want to do with your collected companies.
Goodness sakes.
No. He does have a Court of Calling in hand that he'll be able to activate.
Boo. Birds of Paradise. That's it. This has been a swingy game from Mark Jacobson's perspective. He was terrified at turn 3 Tron, then immediately relieved and actually excited because he was going to get to resolve the
Yeah.
Collected Company, and now he's bummed
then
because
he's
he
bummed.
pricked. Yeah.
But now you know if none of those cards are in Cedric's hand, it's all lands or he has big things like Ulamogs.
Right, which is also not great news for Jacobson. Like, Ulamog's kind of a big problem for him.
He can't have Oblivion Sower because he had 7 mana, so he could have gone Oblivion Sower, put more lands into play, and then put the Mimic and the Relic in play.
Yeah.
So it's not that either. So another Eye of Ugin for Cedric. He can't activate it now.
It's just weird. Like, you can take a look at Cedric's hand, and he's got an Oblivion Stone.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. But I think he's just setting up, like, just trying to bait Mark Jacobson into committing some more things to the board and then just going play pop. Gotcha.
Well, depending on what the last couple of lands are in Cedric's hand, he could tutor up something like an Ulamog at Mark's end step right here. Untap, play the Ulamog, kill a bunch of his lands or kill a bunch of the relevant creatures.
Love that.
It's pretty good.
I mean, Jacobson's certainly aware of what Cedric is capable of here. We're in game 3. And Jacobson right now he has a Court of Calling in his hand that he can fire off here. But, I mean, he can get a 3-drop. Excuse me, a 4-drop.
All right, so it looks like Gavany Township's getting activated here. Yeah. This is when it gets confusing with the Wall of Roots. You have to have different kinds of counters on them. But so they have the Wall of Roots counters on them and then +1/+1 counters on them. Not the same counter.
Looks like his hand is Big Game Hunter, Court of Calling, land. It's tough.
All right, so Windswept Heath for Mark. Yeah, they're going to use smaller die.
All right, well, I kind of like these little. So what are those small dice?
Yeah, those are the +1/+1 counters.
Yeah, and then what are the big ones?
Those
in
are
this
the
case?
Wall of Roots -1/-0 counters, or
Other way.
other way around. Yeah.
the nearly unique, but -0 -1 counters.
They're
Here we go.
They're strange. Here we go. So tutoring up for Cedric.
This is really bad for Mark. He's in super bad shape.
It depends on how Cedric wants to craft this plan at this point.
I mean, I'm assuming he just goes and gets an Ulamog.
Yeah,
Plays
I mean,
the land,
it really depends on what is his hand. If he has one of the Eldrazi lands, he can. If
He just needs one land.
or he needs a Tron land actually. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he just needs like any land, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, assuming he has the land in his hand, which I don't know, he didn't play one last turn. If he draws a land here, though, I mean, I don't know how the heck Jacobson's coming back. He drew a land.
Yep.
So he gets to exile, I don't know, whatever he wants. A couple of mana sources. They're all pretty similar here.
Yeah, I think at this point you can start attacking some of his lands. Although you should be worried at this point that if Mark didn't play anything that turn, he has Court of Calling.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, what's the one card that you can get that you care about? You know, interesting. So Cedric's going to actually be patient here and go for the setup. This really disincentivizes Jacobson from casting or from committing anything to the board, and it gives Cedric the really cool option of not popping the Oblivion Stone here and just going for Eye of Ugin instead. He's got some great options. So I love this play from Cedric. He's just cutting off avenues.
He's really
here.
ahead. He's very far ahead in this game, and he has no reason to expose himself to die to, like I said, shenanigans by untapping Chord, untapping again, or like end of turn Chord, untapping again Chord, trying a similar like he's gonna lose to a combo out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
He's not gonna lose to what's currently going on this board.
Yeah,
so
and I mean, to be fair, Mark Jacobson, he needs more than that. Like he needs collected company Chord and to hit pieces on all of those.
Yeah.
Right. Like Mark is in a really bad position, and Cedric is cornering him.
Right.
Like he's not only representing an Ulamog that can finish the game, he's also representing just wiping his board here. Really tough spot for Jacobson, and I love how Cedric's leveraging his position here.
It looks like the counters at the top. The top ones are actually the +1/+1.
Yeah,
counters.
they switched them.
Yeah, they switched them around. An Overgrown Tomb. Not really what he's looking for right here. Well,
I don't like to call him too early, Gabby, but GG. Like,
yeah, I mean,
this draw is not going to get the job done for Jacobson. Like, even with the explosive potential of, comboing off, if you were to find, like, a collected company after the Chord and just sort of getting there, like, the Relic of Progenitus interrupts the combo. And again, you see what's happening here? Like, Oblivion Stone just sits there, ominously
it's the threatening on board thing. Yeah. Eldrazi Temple for Cedric. This is a cool lesson in when you talk about how the further ahead you are in the game, the more you can afford to play around certain things, and the further behind you are in the game, the more you have to take some of those risks to catch up. That's what Cedric is doing here. He has a huge advantage on the board. He has a huge advantage both in terms of, the things he has in play, the Ulamog he has in hand, the Relic in play as well. And so he's just, cutting off all the avenues in which Jacobson could win in this game.
Yeah, that's a great point, Gabby. But she's
another O-Stone.
All right.
We're probably going to start seeing some fade counters in a little bit.
I would assume so.
Actually, he does not want to tap out. He wants to be able to have 5 for either of these, so to blow up the board if he needs to.
Yeah, this is really tough for Jacobson.
And he has to keep playing out. It's not that he's completely locked out of the game, just very.
Yeah, I mean, right now Cedric has 2 insurance plans on anything scary happening.
Mm-hmm. Gavany Township once again.
Yeah, which is, it's the only thing that Jacobson can really do with his mana, and it just doesn't really matter. Like, that bird is not getting there.
No.
The walls can't attack, obviously. So here we are.
Was it a Windswept Heath, I think?
Is it really? Well, he found a Viscera Seer. That's mildly interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem is, once again, that Relic is in play, so the Relic can just disrupt the combo. / there's not a combo here yet.
No, he's still 2 pieces
There's a Chord. There's a Chord in hand, so technically you have 2 combo pieces here, but then you still have to work through that Relic, and then you still have to work through the O-Stones.
Right. And of note, you said stones. Like,
yes.
And by the way, Cedric has the game-winning creature in his hand as well. With that Ulamog.
Okay, so the Birds is going to get in there, putting Cedric down to 17. You drew another copy of Urborg.
Yeah, this is interesting watching Cedric do this too, because he's played so much Tron in his day that he's leveraging again his knowledge of the Tron deck, the cards in the Tron deck, and how to play against certain strategies, but also combining that. He's marrying that with the Eldrazi threats that he gets these days. That can give him the quick wins as well. The Eldrazi Mimic, Endless One, Reality Smasher, Thought Not Seer combo, and also the Mana Reshaper. Those are the creatures he's playing here.
This is sweet. Look at what Cedric's been setting up. He's been setting up a turn where he can both play Ulamog and still have 5 mana up, so he can activate that Oblivion Stone. So he's going to take down.
He's going to take him off of white mana here.
Yeah, so Jacobson has a chance here to respond if he chooses to.
Yeah, I mean Cedric, wouldn't love to see a path here from Mark, which is a possibility. I don't know if he actually has them, but that's something that he's got 2 in a board, so.
Yeah, and you can assume that they definitely came in for this matchup.
Yeah, totally. Doesn't have one though, so he's just gonna tap it.
Let's not forget that that Mimic is gonna be a 10/10.
Yeah, totally. So I'm assuming a chump block here from Jacobson.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how important these Wall of Roots are.
Yeah, I mean, given that the Wall Roots can't attack, the fact that they have a ton of counters on them doesn't really do very much.
No, it's just a mana consideration.
But look at all the lands he has at this point. So I think under the bus goes that Wall of Roots. Untap for Mark. Another Windswept Teeth. That doesn't do it. So he finds another white source by doing this, but doesn't really do anything given his hand. Looks like Viscera here is going to be the play by Mark. I mean, at this point, Mark's just playing to Cedric screwing up somehow. But the way he's been playing this entire game, just...
Yeah, very carefully.
He's been playing so carefully. So, Court of Calling. Cedric says, you may go.
This is a little interesting, looking at the mana base from Cedric. I think he actually ended up tapping 11 mana there for his Ulamog. Am I seeing that right? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think he could have got away with tapping the mine and leaving up both of the towers there, which gives him Relic of Progenitus plus
yeah, you were right.
activation.
Yeah, you're completely right about that.
I don't think it'll be relevant here, though.
Yeah, so the Fiend Hunter... Okay, so that was a nice play by Mark. He targets the Fiend Hunter to the Ulamog, and then with a trigger on the stack, he sacrifices to Viscera here, which exiles both.
It's a great play. I mean, that is a significant play here, as it means that the main threat that he's facing is no longer there. Now, it doesn't really solve his problems.
Right.
Cedric's still just sort of sitting under Oblivion Stone. Looks like he's going to go for some Fate counteraction.
Yeah, so knowing that Mark here is tapped out and can't do anything, he's just going to choose to put a Fate counter. Oh, actually puts a Fate counter on the Mimic. Yeah, activate the Relic. Away goes a Windswept Teeth.
God, Mark has to slog through so much stuff here. And let's not forget the active Ayavugan here either.
Yeah. Well...
Which is now getting activated, by the way.
He does, but to be fair, that play... Oh, yeah, so he's boarded into the second Ulamog. That makes sense. To be fair, he was very dead. And with a Fiend Hunter play, he's still in this game.
Is he, though?
I mean... He's certainly working his way through all this stuff. He's incredibly far behind.
He's got one thing out of the way, but now he's got to face down yet another Ulamog here, and there's still the Oblivion Stones and the Relic of Progenitus here too.
Right. So this time,
it's such a tough
yeah,
spot
I mean,
for
it's
Mark.
The fact that he can both tutor up and play an Ulamog in the same turn, like, tells you a lot about the land situation for Cedric. Right
Yeah,
now.
it really does. Yeah, he's gotten a little out of control at the land spot.
Yeah, so
here.
it looks like the Wall of Roots is going to chump that Eldrazi Mimic. Mark is still at 17, but now has no board. Ulamog on the other side of the battlefield. Cedric is tapped out,
He
though.
is tapped out. A noble hierarch off the top. You know, Mark has really done a valiant job of fighting here, but he just his deck has not been kind to him.
So time has been called in the round, and this is now turn 1.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be an issue here. Do you?
No, I'm not at all.
I think that
With
Cedric's just
Ulamog
attack.
with Ulamog in play, this game's done. Especially this game has gone on for a while, so it should only be like a couple of attacks by Ulamog for this game to be done.
Yeah, another interesting thing to consider here, right, is that Ulamog's indestructible. So, you know, even if there was a blocker that could get in the way, the Oblivion Stone can just clear it out. Mark's library is going to get eaten for lunch here pretty shortly as well. So, Cedric's also set himself up so that even if Mark were to combo Infinite Lifestyle, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, Noble Hierarch, pass back to Cedric. This is turn 2.
Another relic.
Found another relic.
Yeah. The just in case relic.
He could cycle the relic here, see if he finds a dismember, kill the Noble Hierarch, and then not win this turn, but put him on a 2-turn clock. He has a backup relic, so it's not, you know, it's not a problem to pop one of them. He gets in for 12.
Mark just moved our turn counter out of the way. I think Mark wants to use the one up by him, but the one that's down on the bottom is a little easier for us to see.
Also, Cedric has a wealth of options here because he can also use the Eye of Ugin and play anything in his deck right now. He could get a Oblivion Sower here. It's a good attacker. I guess so is every other creature at this point. Endless One would be huge.
Yeah, he could probably go for at least the GP record on biggest Endless One ever.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Who's the current record holder?
Probably Cedric. Probably breaking his own record.
Okay, so Eye of Ugin activation. Let's see what Cedric. Oh, a Reality Smasher. That's a haster.
Sure.
Making the Mimic also a 5/5.
It's 6/6 actually, right? Is that a counter?
Yeah. It's a counter on it. No, it's a fate counter.
It's a fate counter.
Yeah.
All right. So a 5/5, a 5/5. Yeah, we're going through the motions here, Gabby. Let's just be real.
Yeah. So he used one of his Urborgs as a Lotus Petal. Reality Smasher. Make the Mimic a 5/5. Crunch in with anyone. With everyone, actually.
Yeah, trigger Ulamog.
Yeah. 20 cards off the top. Let's go.
So Cedric's going to improve to 9-1. And Mark's going to be 8-2. So still in a good spot, though. Like, if Mark can run it up, he could go back-to-back top 8 GPs.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, both players are, you know, you can tell that they're both very proficient with their decks. They're very happy with their decks from having spoken to them. Both set up to have a really good run this weekend. Improving to 9-1 is very nice, though, here. Excited just counting up and seeing how many more attacks it'll take to a deck Mark in this point.
I think the answer is 1.5.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so Mark has to block here.
Of note, the red cap got exiled, by the way.
Oh, did you catch that in there? All right, so Hierarchy gets in front of Ulamog, takes 10 from the Reality Smasher and the Mimic, putting Jacobson down to 7.
This is turn 3. We found a collected company.
Well, Cedric still has the possibility to untap, tutor up another Reality Smasher again. So he's going to be attacking for 25 next turn. Mark, he can't live through that.
Well, Mark's fighting the fight here, but uphill battle, I think, is apt.
Good way to describe it here.
Yes.
Oh, you know, he has a collected company. What's in there? A big game hunter, I think.
Also just doesn't get the job done. I guess a blocker. I mean, he's trying to fight for a draw here. Can he actually get a draw out of this? Cedric can just go get another Reality Smasher, right? And
Yeah,
then he's
and
attacking
just
with
play
3
it.
5/5s and Ulamog.
He's attacking for 25 if he does that.
Right, and even if Jacobson hits 2 cards, like, how does even if he hits 2 creature, if he gets 2 Finks, he goes to 11, block, takes 10, goes to 1? If his library's above 20 cards, like, could he actually get out of this? No, the Reality Smashers have, if he goes and gets another Smasher, it would have trample. Also, the Oblivion Stones are now going to start working. I'm trying for you, Mark Jacobson, but I just can't find one.
Oh, you know what he can do? He can, if Mark Jacobson goes for collected company, now he's putting those fate counters on these creatures, so he can just blow up the board before blocks and just get in. Like, there's just no way.
Right. And the trample from a second Reality Smasher should seal the deal, though. This is interesting. I have a lot of respect for Mark for making this a fight here and at least trying to scrap it out.
Oh, yeah, I think a lot of players would have probably have scooped in this position, but he's fighting the good fight.
Yeah. Also, if there are fewer than 20 cards in the library, then the fight's a little less good. I think I would just go get a, breakfast or whatever.
Yeah. So Thought Not Seer gonna get in there. Mark is gonna respond with Collected Company. Let's see what Mark finds. Trigger the Mimic.
He found a Kitchen Finks.
Did find a Kitchen Finks.
Yeah, and he also found a Kasali Pride Mage, but
that's a hand extension. Cedric takes it down in 3 games. Eldrazi Tron is triumphant. And that'll do it here for us for round 10 from GP Detroit.
Outfit your Magic collection with the newest Oath of the Gatewatch accessories from Ultra Pro. You can see the full array of card sleeves, deck boxes, playmats, and portfolios of your favorite Magic artwork at ultrapro.com. Put your game to the test at a Grand Prix. These open tournaments feature the best players in your region as well as top Magic pros from around the world. Upcoming Grand Prix include Washington, D.C., Paris, Beijing, Barcelona, and Albuquerque. Visit magic.wizards.com/Grand Prix for a complete schedule.
Hello and welcome back to the booth. This is Gabby Sparts with Marshall Sutcliffe. We are at the end of round 10, and our players are mumbling around and they're getting ready to play round 11. So we're going to send you to some featured content, but stay tuned. We'll be back with more coverage of round 11 from GP